Okay, so today we're going to be looking at how to remove and replace a tail light on a car. So we're working on an 87 Toyota Camry right now, and this actually has a very simple system once you get inside it. So come on over here. So once we're in the trunk, this one actually has like these plastic covers. Normally there's like carpet and other materials that have to be removed first. In this case, we simply got this little window. We can pop this up. You'll notice there's two clips, one here and one over here. We press these little clips down and the whole mechanism pops out. Now all we have to do to take this out is push the clip on this, release the cable, and we can bring it up here to take a look at it. Okay, so on this car we have what's called a bayonet style light bulb. You notice it has a round bottom to it. It's not simply flat and slides in. So we're going to push this in, twist it, and remove it. Now on this particular light bulb, you'll notice that the little pin here on the side, here and over here, are both equally aligned with each other. Okay, so this light bulb only has one filament, and it doesn't matter which way it goes in. So this particular light bulb is the tail light because it only has one filament. So to replace it, we go get another one, put this bulb back in so that the pin lines up with the slot, push it down, twist it, and release it, and it should hold. Let's look at the other bulb here. So on this particular bulb, same style, this bayonet style light bulb, we press it down, twist it, and out it comes. This one, you'll notice the pins are different heights. There's a high pin on this side and a low pin on this side. So this light actually has two filaments in it, and this is a tail light and a brake light, two different intensities, the tail light being weaker, the brake light being brighter. Now, when you go to put this back in, it's important that you put the high pin on the correct side. And really you can tell this quite simply, because if I try to put it in backwards, it won't push in all the way. It goes down, but not nearly far enough to twist. So, we'll turn it over, put it in, push it down, and twist it, and then lock it back into place. Okay, so now once we've changed out our burnout light bulb, we put it back into the car, we come down. Like I said, this car is very simple. Plug it back into our thing, then we simply put this back into the car and make sure it clips into place like that. Close up our observation panel, and we're good to go. Alright, let's look at another type of tail light. The last one we got from inside the car, this particular model, you actually have screws on the outside that we can get to. This whole piece has to come off in order to remove this tail light. Not as hard as you think. So if you look here, we've got two Phillips screws here and here. So we need a Phillips screwdriver. We'll simply take this Phillips out. We'll take this one out. And then what's going to happen here is you notice this doesn't want to come out very easily. So what's happened is they've got a plug on this side over here that is really just pressed in there. So if you pull this, it pops off. And if I turn around here, you can see what I'm looking at. So here's the pins that push into the side right over here. So when you get done, you got to make sure those pins line up and you press it back into those two holes. Okay. So once we've got this far, actually, now it's pretty easy. Now all we have to do is to take this light bulb and we give it a quarter turn and we pull it out. Now we can take a look at this. Look at this type of bulb. This is a different type of bulb. Remember, the last one was the bayonet style and had a round bottom. You had to push and twist to get it in. This is our regular slip bulb, and we simply pull this guy straight out. So you got two filaments on this side and two over here. Okay, so this is a double filament bulb. This is a tail and a brake light, and this one simply presses in. And in this case, it doesn't matter which way you put it. It can go this way or it can go this way. It'll work the same way both directions. So we take the bulb out, find our replacement bulb, put the bulb back in by simply pressing it back into place. Then we put it back into our car here. Now you'll notice you've got one large slot here, small one, small one. There's only one way this can go back in. So we line it up the way it goes back in, twist it like that so it locks into place. You want to make sure it locks into place, otherwise this special gasket right here that goes around the bottom, if that gasket doesn't seat all the way, what happens is your tail light can fill up with water and then it will blow the bulb and the fuse. So then we line up our pins on this side to start with. Push those in, get a nice little positive click. Then we come out and we simply put our screws back into the outside cover. Okay, so I ran into a small problem here, and this is a very common problem actually. If you got two bolt holes you're trying to line up, one of the things you don't want to do, and I did it, is you don't want to tighten up the first screw entirely before you get the second screw started, otherwise it might not get into place. So now that I've loosened up the first screw, I should be able to readjust this a little bit so that my screw then lines up and goes in. Now I can tighten this one, then I can go back and tighten this one, and we're locked in nice and solid. Alright, we got one final tail light here, and this is by far the hardest of all because we not only have to take off the tail light, but we also have to remove some body clips to help remove the carpet on the interior of the vehicle. So if you come up here first and see the way this trunk is set up, it's very nicely decorated. This is a much fancier car, although I don't know if I'd call Taurus fancy. But you've got this little plastic clip. What we really need to do is take these off just to remove the carpet so we can see what we're dealing with. Now these clips are fragile. They cost about $1 a piece. You can easily get them at Ford if you break one, but you have to go to the dealer to find them. So what you need to do is carefully work a screwdriver under the edge like that, and then pull this center piece out. This little black pin will come out of the center. Once you do that, you can then work out the whole plug. Let me show you really quickly how this works. So what happens is when that plug, this piece will go right into the hole, but when this pin goes through, what happens is it pries out the ends here and holds it in place. Alright, so we got one more of those we have to remove. So like I said, gently try to pull out that center plastic piece. Got to remove it first. Then we can pull out the entire plug, like so. And now our carpet can be pulled away to expose what we have to do. Now this tail light is actually by far the most difficult one I've had to do in this video. The temptation to say, oh, the light bulb's right behind this piece here, and you'll want to pull on this wire. Remember, whenever you unplug something, never pull by the wire, always pull by the rubber boot. But as soon as you tug on that a little bit, you're going to find that, oh yeah, that's not coming out. So what you have to really do is remove the entire tail light assembly. And to do that, you've got to remove 4 screws. You got one here, one way back over here, and over here. So for the sake of time, I've already taken off 2. I've left this one just kind of hanging on there, which I'm going to take off. I'm going to get out my 12mm. I actually have to get out a socket for this one. And we're going to wrench that a little bit till it's coming out. Okay, so once we get that nut off, okay, so now I've got all 4 of these specialized nuts off. So if you come out here on the outside of the car, you can see the tail light assembly, and now this whole tail light assembly wants to come off. So now we can actually see where the 2 bulbs are that we want to replace. And unfortunately, we know that this one's bad, so we have to get this piece off. Now you'll notice, if you remember the last car, we tried to twist this to pull this out. Well, you'll see that due to bad designing on Ford, you can't twist this without hitting this piece. So what you really have to do here is remove the plug first. So you have to pull this little tab out, and obviously somebody's broken off the tab on the other side. You pull that tab out and then release that. Then you can twist this the way it needs to be twisted and remove it. Now if you remember from my other video, this is our slip style light bulb again. We can pull this guy straight out and replace it with a new one. Put that back in there, lock it back into place, reassemble the clip. So see, this one down here actually has both clips on it still, so you have to pull both those clips out before you can remove that. If you try to just pull it straight out, you won't succeed. Okay, so now I've got my new light bulb put back in, and reassembly is just in the reverse order. So we put that back in there. Then we proceed to get all of our screws back into place. For the sake of time, I'm only going to put one on here temporarily because I really want to show you how these clips go back in. Get all 4 of your screws put back in, screw them down nice and tight, then reassemble by putting your carpet pieces back underneath the plastic where they belong. Okay. Then we're going to take our little plastic clip again. If you'll look right inside this hole here, you'll see that I've lined up the carpet, the plastic, and the hole, and this piece simply pushes back in like that, and all you have to do to lock it in place is to then push the pin back in. Now that's locked back into place the way it should be, and we're good to go. So we're going to do this last one here, and now the car's reassembled the way we found it, and you should have taillights.